Prestige worldwide. Why? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the We'll See You Later podcast, episode 46, brought to you by Happy's Energy and Nutrition, the best energy and nutrition on the entire planet, and Liberton Home Repairs of Little Rock, Arkansas. My name is Willie Ray.
And I am Jeremy. Liberton Home Repairs, quality home repair you can trust here in Little Rock, 405-600-8363. And, of course, Happy's Energy and Nutrition in downtown Little Rock.
How we feeling, bud?
I'm feeling great. We're going to hop around a little bit, but I'm excited because there's a new number one in town.
It's lonely at the top, partner. If only we would have told you this was going to happen.
That's right.
But another thing we told you was going to happen. You ever heard the saying, 2 out of 3 ain't bad? 2 out of 4 ain't bad in the final four. If those two make it to the finals.
We have correctly picked your championship game.
We told you a few weeks ago, so you shouldn't be surprised, that it is, in fact, Florida and Houston. You want to talk about the ending? I mean, Florida and Auburn, back and forth, kind of what you expected, but not really anything noteworthy. The game of note was Houston and Duke. With a minute 40, this game was over.
Over. It was, 67-60 or something like that?
They were up 6 with 30-something seconds left.
Right.
It's over. Unless everything goes right for Houston and everything goes wrong for Duke.
And that happened.
And that's exactly what happened. First things first, incredible effort by Kelvin Sampson's kids. Incredible effort.
Houston did everything correct.
No, everything that you need to do in order to make that comeback, you have to make everything you throw up. You have to rebound. You have to force a crazy. You have to force a turnover.
Yeah, they hit the 2 threes when they needed it. Huge shots.
You have to force a turnover. They trap and force a turnover. They did everything technically right, but they were aided by a bullshit over the back call on Cooper Flag.
Yeah. How are you going to call that?
I'm as close to over your back right now
as he was.
As Cooper Flag was.
Cooper Flag. So Duke's up 1 at the time. Less than 20 seconds.
Duke misses a free throw.
Cooper Flag doesn't even jump towards the rim. He's boxed out and is leaning away and flicks his hand up. And that's it. Like, there's no other situation going on, because normally I'm going to be like, that might have been over the back. He didn't even get aggressive with the rebound. He tipped it, and whistle was called immediately.
I'm talking about, like,
this ref was staring at him.
Yeah, the ball, it's almost like the ball went off the rim, and he said, as soon as he moves, I'm blowing this whistle. Now you go back and you watch it, and I've never seen a person, I don't know how you can physically be over someone's back when the entire time you're looking eye to eye with him. It doesn't make sense. Horrible call.
So Duke ends up, the foul happens. Houston hits both free throws, goes up 1, and then Duke misses a shot. They had to foul, end up losing by 3, I believe.
So, look, let's not bury the lead here. Kelvin Sampson's kids, unbelievable comeback. Yeah. The majority of this group came back to Houston when they had options of going elsewhere.
For this moment.
To get back to the championship. San Antonio, the Final Four game felt like a home game for them. I'm sure the championship game will be exactly the same. So, Houston and Florida. As we're recording on Monday. This is tonight.
Yes.
We'll have a champion in, less than 8-9 hours?
Yeah.
One shining moment.
I'm going right here with our champion. We picked Florida here.
I think, honestly, when we did this, I said first one to 70 would win. I might go 65. Like, just watching Houston. Yeah. Houston plays unbelievable defense.
Unbelievable. For Duke to be as hot as they were, to then be drugged down to 60-something points was insane.
Was to turn it into a rock fight, and that's exactly what they did.
I just hate for Cooper Flag that the last part of his career that we're going to, people are going to always remember is that over-the-back bullcrap call. And after all the body of work he had done all year long.
They did draw up. John Shire drew up a nice play to get him a final look at it. And he rose up, was blanketed, rose up, and still got a good look and left it short. at the end of the day, there's been number one picks and great players that just they've never won a championship. It's not going to have any bearing on his career going forward.
No.
Obviously, we wish him all the success in the world.
Right. So we picked here. Our scores were a little. I mean, maybe still for Will 74-68. Will, I got 77-72. I just think
I don't think both teams get to 70. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
I don't think
this is going to be a defensive
I
battle.
don't think Houston has the firepower offensively to do that, but I don't think they would want to, even if they had it. Their MO is just we're going to lock you down.
And they do a damn good job of it.
Yes, they do.
I think that Florida is what UConn was.
Right.
I just think that they're too big,
too
physical.
One of the most talented teams in the country that also got hot.
Yeah.
Found out who they were. The emergence of Walker Clayton Jr. He's the best player in this tournament. Yeah. I picked Florida for a reason.
Right. We did have a champion crowned yesterday, Will.
Got to give flowers to the women's basketball program at UConn is back on top.
Back on top.
For the 12th time.
That's unreal. 12 natties.
Here's where it gets unreal. How many did they have before Gino or Emma?
No idea.
As many as you and me. 12 national championships. The dude's run out of fingers. He's putting rings on his toes. Gino's the man.
Unbelievable. And so classy.
Right. 2 coaches in women's basketball that I felt like could cross over and coach the guys and win there too. The late, great Pat Summit and Gino Auriemma. But the impact that he's made on these women's lives, but on the game as a whole, this guy's been to 24 Final Fours since 1985.
That's
so
crazy.
40 years.
And over half of those,
you go to a Final Four.
You go to a Final Four with this man.
And then if you go to the Final Four, half the time you're cutting the nets down.
That's insane. That's a resume.
He's 71 years old. You could hear him say post-game in the presser that I don't know what this means for me personally, other than it just being kind of satisfying that at my age I could still do it, which is his way of saying old dog still got it.
Yeah, he did. Never lost it.
Obviously, the story here is Paige Beckers.
The comeback.
It's impossible not to pull for this kid, and she's a dog. It's impossible not to pull for her. She's going to go down as an all-time great. I think she's an all-time great soundbite as well. She's one of my favorite interviews. When you, in particular with her and Coach Auriemma, their relationship is just, it's golden. You get this kind of gripey father-daughter relationship between them.
Yeah.
The young woman and the older guy, it's but he seems to have that relationship with all of his star players. So flowers to, we can just say, the greatest women's basketball program ever.
Yeah.
In the UConn Women Huskies. If you're going to go Mount Rushmore of women's college basketball, you don't need 4. There's only 2. It's Pat Summit and it's Gino Auriemma. I'm going to ruffle some feathers there, but I said what I said.
Right.
There's a tier there where it's these 2, and then drop it down and it's everybody else.
Yeah.
12 national titles.
24 Final Four. We're talking GOAT status at that point.
He's just going to come back and do it again.
Yeah, he'll just reload.
I can't say enough good things about this
right.
guy.
He sounds like he should be president.
Not a bad idea. Dino 2028.
There you go. UConn.
Right?
Congrats 100%. A little basketball, Willie Portals. Willie Portals.
Okay, so we're going to switch it. Hard shift to just strictly Arkansas stuff.
Yep.
There hasn't been any portal pops lately, and I know Arkansas fans are getting antsy about it. Just trust the process. I feel like Arkansas is waiting. I wonder how long they're willing to wait, but I feel like they're waiting as long as they have. They got to feel pretty good about it. On Nate Ament, I think Cal's enamored with freshman guards, and I think he's particularly enamored with Nate Ament's game. And they're clearly going all in. Now, it's not going to be a situation where if you miss, you're kind of screwed and picking from the bottom of the barrel. It's not quite to that. But I have to trust that if we're still pushing that hard, that we feel good about it. Portal news here.
Yep.
It looks like we mentioned the Wilkerson kid from Sam Houston State, originally from Ashdown, Arkansas, sharpshooter. It looks like he's trending towards Indiana. There's inkling that he had a huge asking price, as most kids do when they go into the portal. It seems like when Arkansas saw the asking price, they were like, we're going to have to allocate these funds elsewhere.
Right.
Now, as far as the backcourt goes, there seems to be a lot of traction between two names. It looks like things are trending in a positive direction for the Florida State transfer big man Malik Ewan. Now, with Malik Ewan, it's an offensive bag, leaves a little bit to be desired as a defender. So you would think what Arkansas seems to be wanting to do is pair Malik Ewan with a kind of more physical type big man, physicality, get rim protection, rebounding. Now, that's the name that has come out this past week from South Carolina, Nick Pringle.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah, Nick Pringle, and it seems to be
Average 7 and 6.
It seems to be moving pretty quick. Where it high asking price, but it seems to be moving pretty quick. And I like the idea of Malik Ewan's offensive game seems to complement Pringle's defense. All right, well, first things first, we've got to say thank you to one Boogie Flan. Boogie Flan declares for the NBA draft 2025. You were a one and done from the get-go, kid, and it was a pleasure. Go get that bag and remember where you came from.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great season. I appreciate you. It does kind of suck a little bit of how it all unfolded, but a lot
Nothing
of people
personal, just an injury.
Well, what sucks too is a lot of people try to compare him like thanks for nothing and all this crap because
those people are idiots. No, at the end of the day, he came back for the tournament.
Yeah, and it just wasn't.
What did you want?
I get what everybody's saying. Like you wanted Boogie to come back and be this amazing guy, which he was, but Boogie also had hand surgery.
The kid had no reason to come back and play in the NCAA tournament other than he wanted to.
Right.
That's all you need to know. And he played balls to the wall when he came back. There was no trying to protect himself. There was no, let's maybe go half-assed because I'm trying to get a bag. I'm a Boogie Flan fan forever. Go be great, kid.
Absolutely. So Boogie's gone.
I don't think that will be the end of the attrition for the guards. I don't.
Who else do you think?
I would love to have DJ Wagner back, but he feels like there's going to be one that tests the portal to try to be the more ball-dominant guard. It feels like it'll be DJ Wagner because, Acuff didn't come here to sit on the bench.
Right. None of these freshmen really did.
Right. None of these freshmen came here to sit on the bench. I just feel like if Richmond is coming back, that's another old head guard that is not going to, is going to want more minutes than what he got this year, not reduced minutes. It feels like it's kind of crowded. It just points to DJ making a move in the portal. I would love to have him back.
Do you feel the same about a Billy Richmond?
No.
Why is that?
One, because Billy was only a freshman. That was DJ's sophomore season.
Yeah.
1 year makes a huge difference. Two, I just think Billy Richmond was more of the culture guy.
Yeah, I think so. But also watching Billy, he voiced that he was very frustrated with not his playing time. He obviously got it because of the injuries. He got out there more. But does that play a factor whenever you zoom out, if you're Billy, of you're bringing in these two freshmen, he was the sixth man, is he going to be okay with that same style of role? I think that the one that, if we keep him, that shouldn't have to worry too much about his positioning is Carter Knox.
No, Carter Knox will play a lot.
Because Carter is our 3 guard, 100%, and can play a small 4 if need be.
The guard room 1 and 2 seems a little crowded.
Yes. With the 2 kids coming in, Amint, is that what his name?
It's Amint.
Amint. With that situation happening, like Billy, DJ, that's a lot.
There's a lot of bodies.
Can you make it work? Yes. Are you willing to do that if you're a DJ Wagner or a Billy Richmond? I hope so, but you never know.
And at some point, like as cold-blooded as it sounds, that's a roster spot.
Yeah.
Where if you can unclog the log jam, it feels like that opens up a spot to go make a splash somewhere. Where I feel like more than guards, Arkansas needs physicality, and they need, for the love of God, you need a couple knockdown shooters.
Yeah.
But Arkansas is making headway. It seems like things are becoming a little bit more clearer with the plan as far as the bigs. Things are looking good for Florida State forward Malik Ewan. I love his offensive game.
I think he averaged 12 and 8.
Yeah, he's got a lot in his bag from an offensive standpoint. Not a bad defender, but clearly more of an offensive threat than a defensive presence. With things becoming more clear, you see where Arkansas is trending because things are headed in a positive direction with one Nick Pringle as well.
We know him.
The transfer from South Carolina, originally started his career at Alabama, went to a Final Four with them. If you go back and watch the Elite Eight game from a couple of years ago where they advanced in the Final Four, Nick Pringle's defense pretty much won them that game.
Averaged 10 and 6.
If Arkansas's bigs consist of a Malik Ewan paired together with a Nick Pringle, you've kind of got
1-2 punch there.
It's a 1-2 punch, but it's the night and day game where one is kind of your scoring threat and the other one's not necessarily, I'm not going to say not be a scoring threat, but one is more finesse, one's more physical. If that's the two that you end up bringing in, I feel like it's kind of a wash with the loss of Jonas, but with all due respect to Big Z, you upgraded with these two.
And still to be determined with it, Mr. Trevin Brazil as well.
To be determined with Brazil, I think it would be advantageous for him he's one that needs to take his time. He's one that needs to explore all options because if you're willing to be a cog in the wheel, Arkansas would love to have you back.
Right.
If you're trying to maximize your earning potential and go get a bag for one more year, it won't be here.
Yeah.
It needs to be somewhere else.
Or if you want more eyes on you as a starter for your draft stock, it's not going to be here.
Trust me, if you're dead set on coming back and trying to win a championship, I'll take you in a heartbeat.
Oh, I love him.
You've got so many years that you can use your body to make money, and if you're trying to optimize that, it probably won't be at Arkansas.
Right. Okay. So, Willie Ray.
Uh-huh.
What a weekend
Uh-huh.
for these Diamond Hogs.
Oh,
I put it in as big as I could write it. There's a new number one in town, and Willie Ray does not believe in jinxes, so number one is where we should be, and number one is where we should stay.
That's a curse I want. That's a curse you should want. If you think it's a curse, you're an idiot.
Hogs play. They needed a little help this weekend with other teams losing to make this one happen, but Hogs did their part.
First of all, Mother Nature, you're a bitch. I mean, let's just call it what it is, because this was not. Look, we almost had to take a boat to get to Happy today.
Yeah.
If you live in the state of Arkansas, you understand what I'm talking about. This past week, in terms of rainfall,
was unbelievable,
ridiculous.
Half of our state is underwater right now. People, it's losing their homes. So first and foremost, praying for everybody. Hope you guys are safe. The rain has finally stopped.
Yeah, Arkansas did find a way to
play some baseball.
Find a way to get 3 games in.
Hogs play the worst team in the SEC right now, and
let's
it
just go
showed.
ahead and say I don't know that there's a worse team, Division I in America.
They were horrible. Arkansas beats Missouri. This is baseball. Game 1, 21-3. Game 2, 14-4. Game 3, 16-2.
Arkansas sets a program record 51 runs in a 3-game series, surpassing the 50 runs that they scored in a series against South Carolina in 1997. The difference we need to bring up here, 1997, there was no 7-inning run rule, where if you're up by 10 after 7 innings, it's game over. That's only a couple years old.
Yeah.
So we're talking 27 innings. Arkansas scored 50 runs against South Carolina back then. Arkansas batted a total of 18 times this weekend. Whereas, like we said, if you look back in 97, that's 27 times.
Right.
Arkansas batted 18 times in 3 games.
That's a whole game short.
Yeah, they took out a whole game's worth of at bats. That was 2 games worth of at bats in 3 games. They scored 51 runs.
It's unreal.
It comes out to a total of like 2.85 runs an inning.
Yeah. There's this stat that I saw before this that through the first 30 games, that there was a record set last year by last year's team that the point margin from 30 games. So in 2010 was like 120-ish runs from the differential between us and the other teams through 30 games. Last year was the first year we broke that 2010 record, and it was 145 run differential
with a subpar offense.
Right. This team before this weekend will demolished last year's record of 145 to 171.
Yeah, we say it every week. It seems like, but Nate Thompson haters, y'all having a rough go of it.
I will say this as well. Watching this season so far, minus this weekend, for some of these schools that are up there at the top, you can see that they're playing the opposite of them. We're about to get into the nitty gritty where everybody's almost on that equal playing
Things
field.
are about to ratchet up.
Yes,
because if you look at the top 5, Arkansas has a series at some point for the second half of this conference slate against number 2 Texas. Not in this order, but I'm going down from 1. Number 2 Texas, number 3 LSU, and number 5 Tennessee are 3 of those 5 series that are left. Yeah. I mean, and honestly, I love it because step up or step aside.
Absolutely. Top 10 real quick. It's all been rearranged because some people started beating each other. Arkansas is 1, Texas is 2, LSU is 3, Clemson is 4, Tennessee 5, Ole Miss 6. That's a good
2 out of 3.
Georgia at 7, Oregon State at 8, Florida State at 9, UCLA at 10, and rounding out the SEC, Auburn at 11, Bama at 12. Vandy moves up to 17 after sweeping Florida at Florida, and Oklahoma is at 19.
Yeah, here's the thing we need to put. Florida's having a bad year. They're 1-11 now in conference play.
Yeah.
They haven't pitched it well, haven't really done anything well. The gap between Florida and Missouri
is astronomical.
Is the Grand Canyon.
I'm not sure Missouri's coach, and I'm not. They're young.
He could be a great coach,
but
he could be a great coach. He's not winning with this group.
This group's horrible.
Jeremy, you can be bad. You can be bad, just not as talented, and you can still do things right. This team was a combination of being bad and like missing the cutoff man or throwing to the wrong base. Bad footwork in the infield. Awful. It was really tough to watch.
Yeah, this team we're good. Okay.
Yeah, we're really good.
We're good. Okay. Hogs do win 21-3 on 33 at bats, 14 hits and 14 walks.
This is what happens, folks, when the cream of the crop, best team in the country, plays possibly the worst team in the country. Arkansas needs credit for the business-like approach that they took here.
Yep. Then Saturday winning 14-4 on 33 at bats, 16 hits and 6 walks. Then winning the game 3 of the second of the doubleheader, 16-2 with 32 at bats, 16 hits and 9 walks. We look good. Here's something that we're gonna say that is not gonna ruffle any feathers, but if you're not paying attention, you might have missed this. One, Chuck Davalon, the best leadoff in the country, now leading our team with home runs.
Yeah, he's got 11 of them.
11 homers as a leadoff man, was off of your mid-season All-American list.
This is the rich complaining about not getting richer because Arkansas had 4 people on that list. But
to leave him off.
The fact that you left off Charles Davalon is unforgivable.
I get it's like him and Vahiva should be just stamped.
Here's the thing. All I saw was 13. That's inexcusable enough. You mean to tell me not 1, not 2, but 3 people are better than him?
Kiss my ass.
Oh, my Razorback red ass.
That is not a thing. Davalon is the best leadoff in the country. No one wants to face him.
This dude literally looks like I've never seen a kid that age with better back control. Where I want the ball to go, that's where it's going to go. And now all this talk that we did about Chuck Davalon, and it is warranted. He's the best leadoff hitter in the country. He is not, however, the reigning SEC player of the week. That honor goes to one Cam Kojal.
Cam, what's his nickname?
Cammy Commodore. Because he woke up against his former team.
And has not looked back.
Man, he's now leading the team in batting average. I think he's batting like 411. It's ridiculous. And I heard him say post game that he'd been working with Nate Thompson and that they changed something about his swing in the past couple of weeks. Well, whatever you change, don't change it back, because Cammy has found the home run stroke.
It's kind of crazy right now, guys, to see this team, how well top to bottom this team is. Cam Kojal is now overtaking the lead. And then you have Davalon right behind him. Then you have Maxwell behind him. We were only talking, remember at the beginning of the year, like these Aloy brothers are crazy. They have now, not even saying this in a bad way, they haven't fallen. They've been overtaken.
Right.
By Cam Kojal, Davalon, Maxwell. Then you have the Aloys. Then you have Iredale. Those were the three guys we talked about at the very top. And it's not like they're doing massive drop-offs.
No, they're just normal.
They're hitting 340 plus. They're hitting 340 plus. And they're being overtaken by utility and center fielder and leadoff people. Are you kidding?
You want me to go ahead and reenact another fan base watching their team play Arkansas, and they're not familiar with this lineup? This is how it goes. Damn, which one of them can't hit?
Right.
There's no
weak spots.
There are no breaks. As a pitcher, you are invested in every single pitch. And the thing about them is, they're not just talented, they're tough. They're gritty. They fight off pitches. See, like, you're not going to have an easy at bat. You're going to have to throw 5 or 6 pitches to get me out.
Every time.
I'm going to foul pitches off. I'm going to run your pitch count up. I'm going to get into your bullpen. It's a different guy every weekend.
Every weekend.
It's a different
Someone
guy doing
wakes
something crazy
up,
every weekend.
or who just starts it. It's like wildfire for these guys too. All we need is someone to do it. But Cammy, average dude until Vandy.
Well,
and then
he's got the right mindset. I watched a clip of him from the Hog Pod with Bo Mattingly. If you're not familiar, get familiar. Great stuff. Bo started to bring up that he had now taken over the lead in batting average. Kojal cut him off and said, I'll say this, I hate stats. Stats will mislead you and get in your head. He said, you shouldn't be at the ballpark worrying about your stats. And here's the quote: just win and hit rockets. Make the t-shirt, damn it.
Just win and hit rockets.
Make the t-shirt, damn it.
I'm telling you,
I hit rockets.
That's all. This whole team hits rockets. It's just that who's going to be the guy. Because you got a Thomas who, the bottom, well, let's be honest, when we were looking at this team, when it first started, the weakness was 7, 8, 9, if there's going to be one. Like this.
No, but they've embraced it so much, they're now calling themselves the Caboose Gang.
Right. So then Thomas and them, it's like it's like a shift, because 7, 8, 9 was a problem.
When you get to the point where the guys at the bottom of the lineup who theoretically, if anybody was going to complain, it'd be those guys. When they're embracing their role at the bottom of the lineup, that tells you everyone is bought in.
We didn't trust Helfrich for nothing. Souza, we didn't know what was going on. People were trying to get him out of there ASAP. Then you had Thomas, which was everywhere, but you loved his glove and where he was. And then he was so uncomfortable in left field, put him in center field. Dude's float. Then they embraced the name of Caboose Gang. And I'm not going to lie to you, there is times in this season where that Caboose Gang is the spark.
There's a reason why you see a grand slam from Charles Davalon at the top of the lineup. It's because the bottom of the lineup set the table.
It's incredible.
Look, 7, 8, and 9, you don't have to hit 300. Like, all 240s and 250s and 260s are not created equal.
Right.
If you hit 260 and you're hitting 8, you're dangerous, because you're now a sneaky 8-hole hitter.
Yep.
You just can't be 260 and hitting 5th. This lineup, there are no weak spots. There are no easy outs. If you go back last year, I read it before I came in here, the team-wide batting average is 100 points higher than it was at this point last year. They're a whole run higher in ERA than they were at this point last year. That's because Hagen Smith's not there. But you're more than good enough giving up 3 or 4 runs a game because we're not going to score. Like that's the thing. The key phrase here is team, not the best hitters, not the best hit, the best team. Complementary, balance on
all for one
on
kind of thing.
Every level. They are the number 1 hitting team in the conference, which means you're the number 1 hitting team in the country as far as runs scored. Number 2 in the conference in pitching. That's balance, folks. This team's not going to lose much.
And top 5 in home runs.
This team's not going to lose much, y'all. They have built a squad in Fayetteville. This weekend, you go on the road to Athens. Georgia had a bad weekend. They got swept by Texas on the road.
They did.
They're going to be hungry. They're going to be desperate. That ballpark at Foley Field, the wind's always blowing. You get it up in the jet stream, it's going to fly. They recruit to that. That whole lineup matches. Yep. They're one of the only lineups in the conference that compare with Arkansas. This got the making of, because Georgia's pitching leaves a little bit to be desired. They just outmash people. But what they're going to run into is that them boys from Fayetteville mash too.
Yes. This is going to be a mash fest.
Is that even a thing? Say something different. Slugfest or something. Jesus Christ, what is a mash fest?
It's going to be a mash fest.
What is a mash fest?
I couldn't tell you. Georgia, 29-5 overall, 8-4 in conference. Again, just got swept by Texas. Who's number 2 at Texas?
Texas was 5 coming into the weekend.
Yeah, Tennessee lost to A&M,
who now becomes the scariest team in the conference, because if they get going, they were unanimous preseason number 1. That doesn't just happen. If they remember that they're A&M, I'm telling you right now, if they win enough to get in, they are going to be an absolute nightmare 3 seed for somebody.
Oh yeah, yeah. To have a preseason number 1 as your 2 or 3 seed in your bracket, you're screwed.
Don't get me wrong. I despise Tennessee, and if you're a Tennessee fan, I don't like you either. So I loved watching them get blasted in a doubleheader. But part of me said, shit, this A&M team's going to get going now.
Yeah, they're dangerous.
Yeah,
but
very.
Georgia gets swept, falls from 3 to 7. That moves Texas up to 2, with Tennessee losing as well. Georgia on the road, 6-4. At home, 21-1.
Yeah, they don't lose at home,
so,
but neither did Vanderbilt until a couple of weeks ago.
So if you look at their conference games so far, they went 2-1 versus Kentucky, 3-0 at Florida, 3-0 versus Auburn, who's number 11, and then 0-3 against number 2 Texas. Guys to look out for here. Ryland Zabrowski, he's batting .412, 14 homers, 49 RBIs.
They got a bunch of dudes that hit the ball real hard in a ballpark that's hitter friendly.
They also got a guy named Robbie Burnett, batting .336 with 49 RBIs and 15 homers. Just saying, our leading guy's got 11. We're more consistently through our lineup with homers. These 2 guys are the ones that jump out of the page right now. But again, they're playing a lot of games at home in a home run friendly recruited field.
Right. They recruit guys that are gonna mash and recruit them to the fact that they're going to play in a hitter friendly ballpark and hit more home runs.
This is gonna be some Powerball. I tell you what, I'm excited for. Not just the big dogs versus the big dogs. It's gonna be pitching. How does Zach Root come in? Can Gackle keep it together for a solid outing again?
Yeah, he's had to battle. He seems like every start for Gackle, it's one of those things where you go, okay, he doesn't have his best stuff, but we're going to have to battle.
Right.
I worry about his ability to miss barrels when he needs to.
They'll have Gage Wood out. Did you know why Parker Coyle was out?
Back injury is all we know. They haven't specified. Sounds like 6 weeks.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's he's not going to be pitching for a while, but they do expect to get him back before the season's done.
That's good. And Gage Wood, they're just really taking their time, so I'm hoping.
They should.
But I'm hoping that that's just because they want him back healthy and there's nothing else that they've found further on and they just kind of ignore.
No, they should take their time. There's no reason to rush it. And I seem to feel, and this is just gut feeling, it's either this week or next week with Gage Wood. It's either this week or next week.
You think that they plug him back into a starting role immediately?
I don't know. We'll find it. DVH actually met with the media like right before we went on here. So we'll know more after listening to what he says today. As far as what he comes back and does, I think a lot of that has to just do with how quickly he rebounds. You could justify putting him in the bullpen. You could justify putting him back into the starting rotation. Ideally, he comes back and he's able to be a starter, and then you put Bottle Cheese back in the bullpen, because with Parker Coyle going down, you need another left-hander in that bullpen.
Yeah.
And you have them. Some guys have to step up while he's out. Gibbler's impressed me.
Yeah, he is.
I look at Fisher. I look at Gibbler. The most important inning for me of this weekend, we scored 51 runs. Games were never in doubt. One a lot of folks would consider a throwaway inning in the middle of a blowout on Sunday in the second game. Christian Fouch comes in and deals for an inning.
Yeah, he did. You had to see it. You needed it.
Got to have that arm.
He looked great. Wiggins did too.
We have got to have that arm. It's not a question of somebody else can step up and do what we expected him to do. The bottom line is, with an arm like that, if we're going to go where we want to go, Christian Fouch has to get past whatever this was and turn a corner. And the first step was get him in a situation where it's, look, man, just let it eat.
Yeah. And he finally did.
Right.
Hogs play tomorrow against Arkansas State, and then they go on the road to Athens to play number 7 Georgia, a hungry Georgia who was a little bit embarrassed.
Yeah, I mean they had the lead at some point in every game of that series.
So this is gonna be a fun weekend and a tester for sure, on the road too.
There's certain Texas fans out there, and he won't see this video, but if he does, I'm gonna go ahead and call him out by name. Texas rocks. He frequents a lot of the SEC baseball podcasts that I watch with the live chat. Just a Texas homer that, Texas is God and everybody else is shit. I'm looking at you, pal. Yeah. Texas is at 2 and Arkansas is at 1. You want to know why? Because while Texas has some very impressive resume wins, they swept Georgia, they swept LSU. 2 of the best resume things you can have, that you swept those two teams.
Top 10 teams.
You did it at home, bruh. As impressive as it is, you did it at home. Ole Miss is now number 6 in the country. Took 2 out of 3 from them. That's Swayze. Vandy,
17.
top 20 team. Swept them at Hawkins Field. We've done it all on the road. You understand as well as I do. When you do it at home, that's fine. But when you do it on the road, it means more. The cool thing about it is, look at the schedule, Hoss. You can shut me up. Just come into Fayetteville in a few weeks and win that series. And it'll shut me up. But I don't think you can do it.
What's so cool about that is I will be at that series.
Yeah.
We got tickets. My uncle is actually a part of the 85 World Series team, and they are being honored there. So we're going to be there for, it's actually a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I can't wait. I hope it's 1-2 as well. I missed that boat growing up because the 80s in Arkansas and that Southwest class, they hated each other. I didn't get to see that enough and remember it. So for us to re-spark it a little bit would be nice.
Right. And baseball, it'll always be that way.
Yeah, so my mom and them, when they played at Texas, the way that they had it seated, Hog fans sat on the bottom, and the Texas fans sat up top. And they used to throw raw bacon on the Arkansas fans when they got in. And they had, outside of the stadium, a pig with the apple in his mouth. They were roasting it.
So what happens if I just eat it?
It's raw, but...
So?
I mean, you're not supposed to eat pork raw. You might get sick there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
real
in the 80s.
Real original.
Any predictions this week? Do you just want to get 1 or 2?
I'm gonna go.
1 or 3?
I'm gonna continue to be sensible about this.
Okay.
I think that top 10 team in their home ballpark, coming off a sweep, in the comfortability where they matched there. I'm gonna say Georgia takes 2 out of 3, and just let them continue to keep proving me wrong.
Right. I'm gonna stick to what I've done. 2-1. I think Arkansas, I look back and won every series in the SEC. I don't know how the SEC stacked up compared to now. Nobody on any schedule right now scares me. There might be some fights, but I'm not like, oh, I don't want to play them. So I'm just going to stick to 2-1. I'm not going to stick to the sweeps. I do think that we are better than Georgia overall, as a whole. I do. I think that there's this Texas team right now, just watching who they've beat, how they've won, what they're doing. I have to dig more into your players. Texas might be the team where I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. It's like whoever's the home team is going to kind of be the favorite there. Same with Tennessee.
I think Georgia may have been overcooked a little bit as far as like, let's put them up to number 2 or number 3. Like, I think it's a fun team to watch because they're gorilla ball, or the closest thing to gorilla ball nowadays that you see, where guys are just, they've recruited to a launching pad. We've said it ad nauseum. They're going to hit home runs. They're going to hit the ball hard. For Georgia, you look at their lineup and you see who you can't let beat.
Right.
Whereas with lineups like Texas, Tennessee, and Arkansas, you can't do that.
Right. Those are the 3 schools to me that are not saying they're clear, but like those are the 3 where you're like, they're up there.
We'll go ahead and throw LSU in there too. Although LSU's strength is the fact that they are extremely deep pitching. That's their strength. But we'll go ahead and throw them in there too because they are top 5. And I think they are part of that top tier, but it's a different level where it's a different thing where I think LSU has to pitch well, whereas Texas, Tennessee, and Arkansas, it's like you can't. There's no pitch off. The bottom line is, if you go into Georgia and you lose 2 out of 3, it's not a big deal. You don't need to get swept. Sweeps kill you.
Right.
Those are awful. Sweeps can't happen. And to me, if you're a top 5 team, you don't get swept.
Right.
You don't get swept. You find a way to win one. We needed Georgia to win one this weekend against Texas because it would have put us in first place by ourselves. Thanks for nothing. But
now we got to go take it.
Yeah, now we'll just take it out on your hunkered down hairy asses. So if we're talking about series that I will have my eyes on outside of this series, Tennessee and Ole Miss.
Yeah, 5 and 6.
Yeah, but not even because of rankings. Forgive me that I can't remember the player's name. But there's a player who had signed his letter of intent with Ole Miss. He obviously got a better NIL offer from Tennessee. Then proceeds to start calling Ole Miss players and saying, "Hey, bro, you got to get out of Oxford." Not even come to Tennessee with me. Just disparaging Ole Miss.
Okay.
And that has created a
rivalry.
Yeah, for sure. This is going to get chippy quick.
I love it. Is he playing? Like,
yeah.
He's starting.
Yeah, this is going to get chippy quick. And honestly, I'm here for it.
I love it. If we do go 1 and 2 this weekend, Texas is at Kentucky. Kentucky's 18-11 overall, not ranked. If we go 1 and 2 and they go 2-1, 3-0, we might have to flip flop 1 and 2 off that based off the numbers.
Yeah, this is what's fun. I've said it ad nauseum on this podcast. Don't fret, ride the wave.
Yeah. Absolutely. If you want to keep the one spot for more than just a week, which we still can, you got to go 2-1. If not, no big deal.
Nobody gets dropped down a spot for going 2-1 on the road in the SEC.
Well, you look at Georgia, who was number 3, loses 3 straight to a top 5 team, which is kind of what we're doing again here, and just fell 4 spots, fell to 7. So I don't think we're falling outside of the top 6 if this happens.
No.
Even if we get swept, we're still a top 10
Bottom
team.
line for me is, like, if you're truly a top tier team, you don't get swept.
You ain't get swept.
You don't get swept.
And it ain't starting this weekend, I tell you
and
that.
Georgia, take that for what it's worth. I know you got swept at Texas, so you can kind of just take that. And what we haven't brought up, Wes Johnson, the head coach at Georgia. He was the pitching coach here for the 2018-2019 seasons with Blaine Knight, Isaiah Campbell, native of Sherwood, Arkansas, started his coaching career at Abundant Life High School here in Little Rock. Won't be any hospitality extended, though. We Katie bar the door in Athens this weekend.
That's right.
I'm here for it.
So that's going to do it for the sports side. I got a question, though, Will. No would you rather this week. It's going to be a solid question, though. All right. I have $10 million that I will give you.
Okay.
There's a catch.
A caveat, if you will.
There is a caveat. As soon as you take the $10 million, I put a snail on the ground, and this snail will chase you for forever. If the snail gets to you and touches you, you die. The snail cannot do anything crazy, can't fly, whatever. It stays constantly moving towards you.
Okay.
Would you take the 10 mil?
All right. First of all, the fact that you have a co-host with a movement disorder. Did you think this out before you asked the question?
Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, It doesn't matter if I take the 10. If I take the 10 million, I'm dead. Because, yeah, the snail's slow, but, like, I can't stay away from it forever.
Okay.
You have a co-host with cerebral palsy. You might should have thought that through. You're an asshole. You're an asshole. And I'm a dead man. I'm rich, but I'm a dead man. So, yeah, I'll take the 10 million and I'll live it up until the snail inevitably catches me, and then I die. And it's your fault. Have a crippled friend and just use him as a punchline on your podcast.
No, ready? No. The snail. Okay, so for
me, Lee Wilson, everybody.
For me, I had an idea of how I would do this. So it's a snail. It's going to move at the same speed. It can't go any faster, any slower. It can't get like on a boat or a plane or whatever. So you can't just put water between you because it's going to keep moving. I would buy 2 houses with this 10 million, as far away from each other as I could. I would stand 1 mile from where the snail is and measure out the mile, how fast it takes him to get to me in that mile, and figure out how long it would take him to get to the other house that I'm in. And then I would just fly to the other house. So the rest of my life, I would just fly back and forth. Now, the only thing I think that would really get people is, are you willing to forever in your mind know that a snail is chasing you to come kill you? Will that seed stay in your brain forever?
None of this matters. I have CP and I can't hardly move. I'm going to die.
But you're taking the 10, or are you just going to say no?
None of this matters. I'm going to die. I'm going to die anyway. I might as well die rich.
Okay, so Will's taking the 10 million, just going to die by a snail.
Yeah, because Jeremy thought this out before he came out here, and he was like, I'm going to make fun of a crippled guy on the internet.
No, I'm not making fun.
Will's going to die. It's going to be great because he can't outrun a snail because he's slow.
That's not it.
We've known each other long enough. He can get away with it anyway.
Right. No, that wasn't a shot at you. I had someone ask me that question whenever I did the hamster one. And I was like, I really thought it through of like the distances. And it's like, it's a snail. So I would just move,
Is the snail indestructible? Like there's nothing I can do to stop it.
Yeah, like when it gets to you, you can't like trap it. It's got to keep moving towards you.
I'm dead.
There's no way to like hide it in a...
I can't move and it never stops moving. I'm dead.
That wasn't a shot.
You're an asshole.
But I mean, I'm an asshole and you're $10 million richer, so...
Yeah, but I'm dead.
Well,
I'm gonna die. Oh God, a snail.
All right, so anything else?
You're a dick.
That's going to do it for episode 46 of the We'll See You Later podcast, brought to you by Happy's Energy and Nutrition and Liberton Home Repairs out of Little Rock. I am your host, Jeremy.
Willie Ray.
3 things to live by before you get out of here.
Okay.
Number 1, don't piss into the wind. Number 2, hogs by 1 million. And number 3, and probably the most important, watch out for snails. And never, ever, ever trust a farm. Until next time, guys, we'll see you later.